Welcome to OJ Health Radio. I'm your host, Ollie Matthews, a health coach, functional medicine healthcare provider, nutrition therapist, and elite personal trainer who has worked with clients all over the world, from high-achieving entrepreneurs, busy professionals, and world champion athletes. We're going to dive into the depths of health to find out how you will be able to reach your peak performance and truly become the revitalizer that you deserve to be. Covering topics around all things health, from the mind and body to lifestyle optimization and movement, along with getting elite business experts on to talk through your business health at the same time. We really do have all areas covered to help you succeed once and for all. No excuses necessary. It's time to become a revitalizer. Remember what we always say, your body is your business. And without a sustainable body, you haven't got a sustainable or scalable business. So get strapped in, get ready to take your body, your mindset, relationships, and business to the next level. Hello and welcome to another OJ Health Radio show. Now, I'm actually super excited with this show. Now, this awesome individual is someone that I met in Colombia when I was speaking there a couple of months ago at an event, and it was filled with awesome individuals. But I just connected with this individual, Sasha Lipskaia. So Sasha, really thank you for coming on to the show. We've had some amazing conversations. I wish we'd have recorded some of them for the podcast, but tell the listeners a little bit about who you are, what you do. I know it's like the cheesy way of opening, but let's just do it.
No, and it's perfect. It's true.
Yeah.
You're leading me to express the truth of the moment, which is all we really want to do. So I'm actually going to pull up something that we just spoke about, and we didn't record, and now we're going to record it. So you said something beautiful, which is that you, Ollie, I mean, this is how we connected. Like, you recognize your kin, right? Your soul family. And so a professor of mine once told me, you don't make friends, you recognize your friends. So that evokes friendship, right? And So you and I connected because both of us are very passionate about helping people live in integrity with their truth, right? In different ways. And so what I do in my way of expressing that is I am a healer that works in different modalities. So I'm a mindset coach. I'm an intuitive coach, which means that I work through the modality of using my intuition as a skill, as a tool in my coaching. I am also a sacred sexuality and union mentor. I work with tantric principles, yogic principles, and I'm an artist, which means that I use every single part of me that used to be an actor, used to be a writer, is currently a performer and a poet, in the way that I create containers for people to come in and experience the healing within themselves as I guide them through the transformation process. So that's what I do. And I know that it will change, it will expand, and it will transform. But I love the way that you articulated what you do, which is that you are a healer that currently works as a health and wellness professional. And that is exactly how I feel. I feel that I am a healer. Everyone is. And my healing manifests in creating these experiences for people and containers for them to feel safe to experience that, where they get to activate their own healing, their purpose, their truth, and live in integrity with it moving forward with my guidance and without it. The point of my work is so that people don't need me anymore.
I think that's a key point, actually, that I've got clients that have been with me for years, but then there's a specific reason, like for the accountability or something like that. But my goal, and as you say, your goal as a coach as such, is to allow people to be able to help themselves.
Exactly.
They might come back to you in the future because they've hit a hurdle of something that's gone on in their life or something, but deep down they've got all the tools to actually heal themselves. You're just guiding them, right?
Exactly.
We're not instructing them to like crack the whip and say, do this, do that. It's just guiding them for that right thing. How did it actually come about? Like, where did you start with this?
And I know you will know what I'm saying when I say I've always done it.
Yeah.
I never started. I just realized there was a format to what I was doing that I needed to learn, right? So that's how I became a life coach. And then, now I also added a lot of other modalities, Reiki, and, the gene keys, and I use so many different things. shamanic practices, right? And I'm very, very deeply immersed in, again, kind of reintegrating ancient wisdom that has been lost, that I haven't been really exposed to when I was growing up, or learning certain skills now into my work from a place of devotion, that wisdom has been there for centuries for a reason. And it's absolutely just transformed the nature of my work, just the way that I hold that space for people. So the way that I came to become a life coach, and again, calling myself a healer, is that I think 12 years ago at this point, I was transitioning out of my then career and whatever felt that purpose of my life, which is I was a performer, actor, a writer, a creator. And I really saw myself only as that artist. And I studied communications and media and, a lot of different, again, always in that, well, I have to be an artist, right? That's what I am. And so I also grew up in a household where I was brought up by an artist. So that strand of that's my identity was dying. And I felt it, right? And I was like, that's no longer what I know I need to be in this world. I know it's a part of my path, but right now I need to release it. And not, again, this is not about erasing, right? It's about expanding. So at that time in my life, it's like, it felt like I was literally just killing it off. But really, and I'm realizing now what I was doing is I was expanding that identity to accommodate the most important thing at that moment, which was I was guided to learn how to actually work as an energy worker, a life coach, a sacred union mentor, a shamanic practitioner, right? And do that in a way that wasn't making me feel like I was, all over the place. So I gave up that career fully and I went to get my graduate degree, and I studied feminism and media and communication and intersectional feminism and philosophy and a lot of different, again, things to help me think and discern and learn ancient ways of expressing ourselves and storytelling, and always coming from that point of view of an embodied feminine experience, of course. And before I went into that path, I became, a licensed life coach, and I started practicing that. But I felt like something was missing. I felt that there was a scholarly, for me, right, foundation that I wanted to go into. I wanted to be more involved in being a student of what it means to really understand the key principles of psychology, right, and philosophy and religion and spirituality, so that I can communicate that to my clients, to my students, from a place of radical compassion, right, full on unconditional love and knowledge, gnosis, right, so that they can evoke the truth in them, but understanding that the language I'm using actually resonates with what it is that they want and need to hear in that moment, so that they can go there. Right? Because what you and I are doing and everything that I do never really is focused on a specific modality, right? Or spiritual teaching or religion or belief that I have. It's based on all of it and yet none of it, because every single religion, every single spiritual teaching, every modality, every healing method is always, if it's true, it's always coming back to the one thing. You hold all the answers. You hold your own healing. You are the vessel for transformation, and the world you want to live in is inside of you. However, how do you do it, right? How do you reveal it? How do you live it? How do you embody it? How do you practice it? How do you make sure that that becomes your reality? And that's where I come in. So again, my role is never to tell somebody what to do, right? Or to grab their hand and move them. My work is to help you become your own leader and find your own answers and guide you as you do, and fall with you and stand up with you and walk with you and hold space for you to feel the integrity in every single movement, breath, every single dream you have. And know that you always, 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 always have the power to choose the best possible decision for you. And it's always going to be in your highest good. It's always going to be in the world's highest good. My job is to make sure you know what it is. You can feel it, experience it, embody it, and you can trust it, so that then you can actually take a step into it and live it, right? And see it actually manifest around you. And it's usually not at all what you think it's going to look like, right? So that's, again, my job is to have that confidence in you that you sometimes don't have, that you can and you will, and you are absolutely guided and supported every single step of the way, so long as you're in alignment, in integrity, and fully committed to falling in love with what you really are. That's sacred sexuality. That's divine union. It's finding the beloved inside of you and giving it everything you've got so that you can embody that and live as that and lead as that and manifest a life that one wants to live.
That is powerful. I've written a couple of notes there with, tell us what feeling in alignment, how do we know when we are truly aligned with where we are right now?
Oh my God. So I have to share, I'm reading this book right now. That's just really, it's like, when you feel so empowered to say yes to the truth. And then the universe gives you even more reason. Yeah. So I'm reading a book called The Way of Integrity by Martha Beck. A lot of your listeners, maybe you too, know her. She's a very well-known life coach, writer. She to me, she really does embody the integrity of the profession of life coaching. She does it in a way that, it can be, we all know, right? Coaching. What does it even mean? Well, so the way that she embodies it, to me, that's how I want to show up as a coach. And so she recently wrote a book called The Way of Integrity. And again, the word of integrity, how do you know? Right. And so she gives a few pointers and she uses actually Dante's The Divine Comedy as like this hero's journey, right? To guide you, to show you where you're in purgatory. And I love it because again, storytelling is so important. So I'll give your listeners or your viewers, whoever is here right now, again, you're not here for a reason. You're not here for a reason. You're here for a reason. You're here for a reason that is beyond what you think you are, right? You might be thinking, I'm going to get some health tips. I'm going to see all your coaching, which you will. And just be open to discover that maybe the reason you're listening or watching this isn't why you thought you were here. So the way to know that you're in alignment and in integrity right now in this moment, just do it. Just go, because you can't understand it. You need to know it in your body. This is called experiential knowing, right? And from that place, from the place of experience, you can put it into action and experiment, right? With that knowing in your body. This is how I know I'm in alignment. Let me try. Let me try acting from alignment. Let me try acting from not alignment. Let me see the distinction, right? So there's so many tools, right? Divination tools, but you can use them. And I am all about that. And the way that I've developed the system that I work with I've never used any tools until like 2 years ago. And it's blown my own mind. So the blowing of my own mind came from a place of, oh my God, it's so radically simple. And yet most people don't have access to actually learning and can't know, they can't know how to apply it because once they learn these tools, they're like, well, I don't have time. Right? I don't have time for this. It's just like one more thing that I have to do. So I'm going to tell you right now, this works. You have to practice it. You have to witness yourself, sometimes not listen, not be in alignment so that oh, that was me in alignment, telling myself this is the way and I didn't listen and this is what happened and this is how it feels, right? So all of it is in service, but you got to start from the place of I want to learn. So the way that I usually talk about alignment is really integrating your intuition, right? Your intuitive voice, that inner wisdom, inner guidance into your brilliant mind that will give you all kinds of possibilities, information. And again, also directives that might be in your service, right? Or might not, depending who you are choosing to act. So the point here is being in alignment, meaning knowing who you are in the moment of thinking, choosing to act, and actually acting. And that comes from how you feel. So feelings, then thoughts, then beliefs, then actions. Now the feeling will come from that inner body, right? From that heart center. That's where you're reading energetic information from. And that's where your intuition will speak to you from. It might sound like it's in your head. You might see things. You might feel, I don't feel good about this, right? But it's coming from your heart center. So the way to know is very simple. When you are in a moment of not being sure, or you're sitting with a decision, simply breathing into your heart, like taking the time, right, to really breathe into your heart 6 times at least. So do it right now with me. Deep breath. You can breathe through your nose if you can. Breathe out through your mouth. And you're breathing in all of this knowledge that's around you. And you're evoking the knowledge inside of you. And breathe out. Another deep breath. Hold the breath. Feel your heart open and expand. Relax your body. Breathe out. Another deep breath into your heart. Expand your heart center. Feel your body ground. Relax. Feel that power come through and exhale. 2 more breaths. 1 more deep breath. Feel your heart open. Feel the root of your heart deepen. Feel the presence in your heart. Feel your awareness and exhale. 1 more deep breath. Bring your awareness, your attention, your whole being is in your heart right now. And exhale. And right now, just place your hands wherever you feel you are in your body. Where are you? The truth of you. Yeah. So it could be somewhere else, but for me and for Ollie, it's right here in our chest. And so here, feel your touch, feel your hands on your skin, on your clothes, your heart's feeling, your presence, your attention, your listening. And now you ask, what is the truth right now? What is the truth right now? What is the truth of what I need to do right now? Just stay there for a second and feel. This is the most important part of this exercise. Feel the sensations in your body as you say, what is the truth right now? You can feel your body relax into being in integrity because it is waiting to receive the truth. It's almost like you're saying, I'm going to give you some chocolate and your whole body will change. It's like, I'm waiting to receive chocolate. I know what it tastes like. I know what it's going to feel like, right? And I know what I think about it. So I'm just going to be like, chocolate. Here is the same exercise, right? But how you know is that you need to discern for yourself and identify how your being, how your body tells you what feels true. Mm-hmm. Because it won't be the same for me as you. It's an intuitive language that is uniquely created for you, right? And it's never wrong. That's the thing. If you think, oh, that was my intuition, I was wrong. It's not wrong. It's just that in that moment, you weren't either. You weren't listening to your intuition and you were listening to your mind, your ego, or you were listening to it, but from a place of fear, right? So again, how you're listening is very important, which is why you breathe first, you relax, you feel that empowerment, that safety in your body, which is why so much of what I do, I call myself an intuitive embodiment coach, because it's all about knowing, right? This is the instrument. This is the piano. You've never played it, right? So how do you start playing the notes, knowing you'll make some crazy sounds that don't feel in alignment at all so that you know this is not in harmony, but this is. Let me hear it again. Let me hear it again. Okay, now I know this is D. This is G. This is my, oh, I love this sound of that's truth, right? Same thing. And it's so simple. And yet it's something that we don't learn, right? And it's something that we actually are born with because it's our first language. The intuitive language is the first language of any human being, any animal. We start communicating through energetic information when we're in our mother's wombs, right? Which is why it's so important to know that it's absolutely in you. You know how to be in alignment. You know how to be in integrity. You absolutely know what the truth of your heart is in any moment. The challenge is you don't know how to hear it. You don't know how to actually receive its guidance and trust it. You don't trust it, right? And you don't know how to integrate and apply it from a place of confidence, clarity, and this is the most important thing, surrender. Because the whatever choice you make will never manifest as what your mind is telling you. And you have to surrender to that, knowing that it's the principle of the higher will over my little will. That is going to be so much better than anything I could ever imagine. And I trust that my question, my challenge, the thoughts I had before I asked the question absolutely served me and are very clearly communicating what I need help with, right? And how I am asking to become in alignment and where it is that I'm looking for support so that that higher guidance comes in and supports you right there. And you're not like putting words in its mouth. I was like, but I want you to say this. No, and being really humble to receive it, knowing that it, again, might sound crazy, might feel not right. It might feel like, oh no, this is not what I decided. Again, in your body, right? Is it not right? Or is your mind fighting it so hard, right, that you're scared? And in that moment, you feel, oh no, my intuition is saying no. Is it your intuition or is it your ego? Because your ego's job is to keep you stuck in the past, suffering, afraid, and limiting every part of you that's waiting to be born. Because it only knows the past. And if you actually leave the past, it dies in that moment. Now, it will never leave. The ego will show up again and again and again. It's basically the construct in your mind that tells you full on everything about you that isn't actually It will be like, this is who you are. You're this, you're that, you're that. And you're like, okay, great. Great information. Yes, that's my identity. This is my title. This is my job. This is my relationship status. This is what you think my body looks like. None of that is me because I'm looking at this. I'm listening to this. Who's the one listening? So tapping in, what's the truth? And from that, you can ask, who am I in this moment? What's the truth of who I am? What feels true in this moment might not at all be the things that you're trying to project into the world, which is why you feel out of integrity with how you're treating your body, with how you're showing up in your relationships, with whatever job you're doing, right? It might sound great, look great on paper. It might present itself as what you always wanted, and it's just wrong, right? And that's where disease manifests off, right? Discomfort, because your body's like, wake up, this is off, you're out of harmony, you're out of harmony. We're going to bring everything to you to show you how out of harmony you are so that you can go to the one place that will never let you down, will never, ever lie to you, and is always at your disposal. But you got to actually put in the hours, right? You got to put in the practice and take it as seriously as you've been taking every single thing you've learned from all of these other things that aren't true and that you've committed to creating your world from. It's the same principle. Now it will feel a lot better. And it will feel a lot more natural because it's the most natural way of living. And it will also feel awkward and weird and sometimes scary because you will have to let go of all the things that you used to believe. So that's how you come into alignment. You do it moment by moment by moment. There is no 5 steps to alignment, for your job. It's like, this is the basis. From there, this is how you use it for finding the right job, finding the right partner, right? Creating the right container for your family, building the house, choosing where to live, all of that. But it comes from that moment of what's the truth right now, because all you have is now. And the only thing that's here after all of the bullshit has gone is the truth, which is why you breathe and you literally cleanse yourself of all of the things you need to, which is why meditation, which is why journaling, which is why breath work is so powerful, right? It's so, so important to know these are not just tools to just feel better. You feel better as a result of being in alignment, right? You're healthy because you took care of yourself. That's the byproduct. And then you get to actually embody and keep it for the rest of your life, regardless of what you're doing, regardless of how your body looks, and regardless of how your purpose, quote unquote, right, manifests in the world. You know you're always on purpose. And that's how you're showing up. And so everything is purposeful and everybody around you feels it. Right. So you literally create and magnetize that reality from everywhere. And then once you start living that way, you can't go back because you haven't changed. You have transformed, right? Change is something you can reverse. Today I'm vegan, tomorrow I'm vegetarian, after tomorrow I'm whatever. Transformation is irreversible. It's I am a butterfly. Like I can't become a caterpillar. I will come to the end of my life and then, my soul can become a caterpillar again. Or maybe I've learned that lesson and I come back as a horse, now we're good. But anyways, the metaphor is still important. So the horse also has to go through the growth process. So that's a powerful answer.
Yeah. That was the quick answer.
That's the quick answer. Yeah. You want to come to a seminar, we'll do some work.
Yeah. And I think we talk about these different kind of chapters in our life. Now, I think it's important that we take from each chapter and we develop, as you say about the ego, like he's pulling on the past. But what are the chapters that have been, we've had these discussions about health and fitness and stuff and how you've been seriously into fitness like myself. And I feel we're in a much more peaceful place now.
Yeah.
How did you realize that? What was happening in your body?
The opposite of what I just shared. So it was constriction. So this is a beautiful question, Ollie, and thank you for that. Because it's really important often to know that you might not witness the truth because the first layer of what you need to see is the lie, right? Is the discomfort, is what doesn't feel true so that it's not true. And that will reveal the truth, right? So often we want to go to the truth, but we can't because we're stuck. And the stuckness is not revealing the shadow. Right. And that's why I love shadow work so much. My God, there's so many things, but that's why it's so important and powerful to know that witnessing the part of you, the ego, right? That scared, that's constricted, that doesn't want to be healed, right? That's attached to trauma and the past and being afraid because it feels like without it, it doesn't know what it is. It has a very good reason to. Yep. It's surviving and it served you, right? It brought you here. So from that place, radical love, you did everything you needed to do with the best that you had in the moment that you had to. Now you're here though. and you're like this, okay, I clearly know now it's safe for me to transform because I can feel my body being like, no, 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 right? So how I felt often training, for example, and again, it's not about the training. The training isn't the problem, right? It's who you are going into it. So the way that I approached it, the way that I came into it was from a place of ego and wanting to look different, better, right? More fit, more skinny, more whatever. And also, and this is a very important part of it, nothing wrong with wanting to look a certain way, right? But the way that I was coming into it was coming from a place of I, without that, am not enough, right? I am unworthy of what I want to create in the world, like quite literally. It's because when you ask yourself, does it really matter? No, it doesn't, but it matters to the me I want to become, right? And then it means that who you are now isn't good enough. You can't love yourself as you are. So anything you do from that place, whether it's sitting in meditation because somebody told you that you need to do that to be spiritual, right? That will be out of alignment. Although you're practicing something so incredibly powerful and really, really helpful. If you're coming from a place of, I just need to be a better meditator because somebody told me that that's the way I'm going to manifest $1 million, right? Like you might, but you won't actually come back into alignment, which is what really, truly your soul is asking for, which is why you're feeling like I want $1 million. Why? Because the $1 million feels like freedom. It feels like you can be whoever you want in the world. You want to support the people you want to support. You don't have to worry. It's absolutely coming from a good place, but the one driving it is ego, right? So again, just knowing where you're coming from. So I came into fitness and nutrition and studying all these different ways of eating from a place of, this is not good enough. I got to change. And because of that, the way that I went about it was I forced myself to do things that did not feel good to my body, right? So I overtrained consistently. And this is important for everybody to know. And I know you know this, Ollie. You might not look like you're overtraining, right? Like people can look at you and be like, oh, this person, picture of health, perfect harmony. Like, she's at the gym 3-4 times a week, but she doesn't look like she's throwing on the floor. Like, she looks fine. Though, right? If you are there and you feel like I'm constricted, I don't feel good about being here. And it's not, I don't want to do hard work because we actually like hard work as human beings. We like that, right? It's play, but that can become addictive, right? And actually mask the fact that you don't want to be there, right? Because you, for example, you don't have a training program that's catering to your needs, right? You, for example, have created a program from your ego that's catering to the needs of a bodybuilder who you want to look like, right? And that's not helpful or healthy or at all in integrity with how you want to show up in the world. So you become that identity then, right? So then how you eat, how you think has to correspond because we need to survive. So like, okay, if she's at the gym, she hates it, but she's pushing herself, right? She's trying to lose weight she doesn't need to lose. Or even if she thinks she does, not really, right? Whatever. And she's doing it from a place of fear. Then the way that she's acting outside of the gym will reflect that as well. How you do one thing is how you do everything, right? So that out of alignment will manifest everywhere. Now, I was on the spiritual path. I was very much committed to, again, committed to doing the inner work, to coaching, to healing. And that's why I'm doing it, right? Is because of the greatest challenge of my life, being very vulnerable here, is being able to accept and love and see the truth of who I really am without my body, without my weight, without my face, without my nationality, right? Without my identity, without my income, without my relationship status, without what some guy's telling me. That's been the journey of my life, right? I've been an immigrant many times. I've traveled a lot. So like the setup for everything was perfect. And my drive to perform, right? My like A+, like I like to do things all the way. I went into every diet, 1,000%. And you know this, right? And it's like this, it's the best thing I could do for myself. I'm going to be all the way in. And your body's like, okay, you're not sleeping. Okay, your nails are not looking good. Your hair is falling out. You look good, right? But you're not healthy and you know it. And so you're lying to yourself. You're out of integrity, right? Because you want to continue doing what you're doing because you're so terrified of losing what you've gotten. And this is what I tell my clients, and like I'll tell myself right now, everybody, we will always have these shadows, right? If it's not exercise, it's something else, right? We're human, but they will be less and less, right? And you will see them quicker. You're like, oh, out of alignment. Okay, I know what to do. What's the truth? Oh, okay. And here's the thing, like in the moment where you know the truth and you're saying, no, I'm not listening, you're literally betraying yourself, right? And so that it feels like toxicity in your body. it feels like you're carrying deep, deep grief and shame. And we often, again, will not express shame and grief. We will express anger, right? Sometimes we'll express, I don't like this. But the grief of, I don't feel like I'm enough. I'm suffering. My body's suffering. I don't know what to do about it. There's nobody holding space for that, really. Because why? You have nothing to, that's why coaches are so important, right? Somebody comes to me and be like, listen, I'm all good and great. And guess what? I'm falling apart and I don't know what to do. And my husband wants to leave me and I can't stop going to the gym. And I don't, why? Because you're so terrified of losing, right? Everything you've gotten. And so this is what I want to say to you, everyone listening, to you, Ollie, to myself, everyone, you can never lose. You can never lose what's really yours. You can never betray what really, 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 really matters. And what is yours will never go by. The only thing you can lose is the illusion of who you think you are. And it's terrifying to that illusion, which you've been living as, right? So just know that, yes, it's supposed to feel terrifying, but that's not who you are. So that's why having somebody reflect the truth of who you are and evoke that voice you've never used. It's like, oh, I sound different because this is me. Oh, wow. So yeah, so I've done this a lot. And so this past summer, meeting you was actually the really big shift in me because I still trained. I didn't do as much nearly, right, as I used to. And I really did, like, especially past few years, pay attention to harmony, right? So really understanding, okay, this is not feeling good. I'm not doing it, right? And also still pushing, still being like, well, but this is what I know how to do. Like, This is what I'm doing. So letting go of all of that and having that radical trust in my body, right? And having trust in the fact that I don't know, right? But I need to hear the truth right now so that I find the right way, whatever that training program is. And for me right now, for example, it's very, very much based on everything I do is, again, intuitive movement. What feels good? What feels right? It could be lifting weights once a week and then yoga 5 days a week. It could be nothing. And the only thing I always swear by, and I've always this is part of my spiritual practice, and this is something I teach, walking. And again, walking as much as you can with nature, even if it's a tree, just like seeing a tree. So but that's not fitness, right? This is not about trying to do anything. This is just being in your natural habitat. But this summer, when you first met me and I was like, oh, I'm not going to train this week. Guess what? That turned into like a month.
Yeah. I remember you saying.
Yeah. And I came back and now I've been literally just in awe, Ollie. So I just want to share, this is me receiving the answer to what I had as a prayer. Because I literally prayed this past year. I was like, listen, I know what to do. I do it for other people, but I need help because I know that I'm out of integrity with how I treat my body. And I know, not always, but it's out of it. Doesn't matter, right? One little part. And the second part is I'm out of integrity with how I'm treating myself as a vessel for healing for other people. So that includes my business, right? How I'm showing up as an entrepreneur, as a coach. So just being really honest, like, this doesn't feel good. I'm not doing it. I don't care if everybody's telling me. I don't care if the people I love and respect are telling me. I'm not doing it if it doesn't feel right, right? So same with my body. So it's all the things. So I realized, for example, right now, I don't want to be a fitness person. I don't want to take pre-workouts. I don't want to do protein shakes. I don't want to go to the gym 3 times a week with a scheduled program, because I don't think I'm supposed to do that. And if one day I, in integrity, feel like, oh, this is going to be good for me, I need some structure. I need to, I will. And guess what? I'll hire somebody like yourself or a coach that knows where I'm coming from that will hold me accountable to that. And not let me slip into some ego-driven, well, now let's go and, become Mrs. Olympia or whatever, because why not? I'm here, right? It's like, no. So that's kind of where I'm right now, but it feels like the most natural place to be. I have so much confidence and I'm literally, the confidence is not coming from ego. It's just like, this is who I am and I'm perfect. I'm whole, right? I'm in integrity. I don't need to do anything. So anything I do is just a compliment to what I am. Right. So I'm going to yoga. I'm also studying how to be a yoga teacher so that I can deepen my practice. That's one part to it. But showing up in yoga, right, has taught me again and again that, oh my God, any movement, any part of your life that is really devoted to your body can and will become a practice that will support everything that you need if you pay attention and if you get creative, which you are. Divine creator, you make it your own. And if you have a very clear intention, right? What is it that you are trying to create here? And that way, that movement will become a catalyst for that. It won't hold you back. It won't put you in a box. It will literally, the pose is so that your body relaxes into the truth. Not that so your truth tries to fit into the pose through your body, right? The opposite. So the pose is just a framework. So that's where I'm right now. But holy crap, Ollie, that's transformed how I eat, right? That's transformed how I approach eating. That's transformed how I literally like clean, move. Like it's everything is different. I'm like, holy moly. Like I know this stuff works. I see it work in other people, but to this degree, feeling this much freedom has never been accessible to me from this place. And I know it's because I asked, I got the guidance. You, by the way, are part of it. We'll talk about that. Without physically like coaching me, You coached me and actually reading your questionnaire with another. I was like, oh, I'm on the right track. This is, and so all of it, people will come in, right? The right people, again, in alignment, the right people in alignment with themselves will come in to be in alignment with you, with what you need. They want the highest good for the highest, right? For the highest part of you. So the best for the best part of you. And by that, I mean the truest, not bad, good. It's like the truest. They want the best for the truest part of you, and they will hold you accountable to that part of you. And I know that's what you do for your clients, right? And so I literally just it's almost like, I got a little reality check when you and I talked. I was like, I preach all this stuff. Oh, wait. Can I trust this much? And then I was like, oh my God, my prayer to be free of this one last thing, which was the gym for me, gone. I was like, oh, it's right there. No, it's across the street. I have no interest in going. Feel great.
When people look at this, like intuitively, we think we're going to go for this health side of things, but we go down the fitness side. Mm-hmm. I learned a lot from smashing my body in a way I would not tell clients to do now, and I wouldn't do to myself now. But I learned a lot to get me where I am now. But it's so surprising that the people that I work with being severely stressed out, as I say, taking entrepreneurs from the brink of burnout to peak performance. And like we were on this trip together at the event, and there were people there. And I remember one person who's a client of mine now, and she was saying that like she cannot lose weight. She's struggling to lose weight, super badass with her business. Yeah. And you'll know exactly who it is. She's doing CrossFit 5 times a week. So if we think about what this exercise is doing to us. So many people want to start exercise to be healthy, but it's pushing down that fitness route as such. Yeah. And we're just releasing cortisol into the body in an already stressed vessel that we're like living in. Mm-hmm. Now, she messaged me a few days. She's like, well, I've stopped and I'm losing weight. Like, go figure. I said, yeah, like no shit. Like, this is what happens, right? Yeah. And this is what happens time after time after time again. When we let the body recharge, it starts digesting better. We start focusing better. Oh and you're feeling that now as well. Like doing yoga isn't releasing the cortisol like those hard sessions were. So we're not going to get the anxiety, the not being enough. We're not going to get like the wiredness when we sleep. And it's not to say exercise is bad. It's dose dependent, right? I still train. I don't train as hard or as many times as I used to.
Right. Yeah.
And I think it's being okay with that.
Yes.
I think like so many people like, oh, we want to smash it. And like, there's the ego side of things. When we look on social media, I've done this and then we've got to post it on social. And like, it's very, very, it's a stressful world.
Your face is like, that says all, right? And again, think back 100, 200 years ago. Were there gyms? No, we moved our bodies, right? We worked. Those of us that did, like not everybody did, right? And we saw, again, there were people who were not healthy, like 340, like, of course, always. However, to really thrive, right? And you need to move your body, you need to fuel yourself, but it's not an obsession. It's not something you do out there. It's like a part of your life. And you don't know anything other than that because the most natural thing, I'm going to move, I'm going to do this, I'm going to lift this. Why did we create the gym? Because we're out of that natural environment, right? And we want to incorporate these key movements back in. And they're absolutely of service. I'm sorry. The deadlift, the squat, the push and the pull, those movements are primal and they're important for us to not only learn, again, like learning to be in alignment, right? Learning these are natural. Kids can do that. But most adults, even in their 20s, can't do it. Right? Like if they're sitting all day, like, so we absolutely do need frameworks like the gym, like foundational spaces, right? And trainers to teach people how to start relearning, right? A natural pattern of their body's movement that will benefit their muscle, their bone structure, right? Their development as a human being, regardless of what age they are, so that they're always feeling at their best, right? And again, the best doesn't mean it looks a certain way. It means it feels a certain way. Means having those extra, as you think, 5 pounds sometimes, because in that space and time, the environment you're in, whatever you're doing, it actually needs that from you. That's the cushion, the safety for women, especially, right? It's a completely different ballgame. We need to feel safe in our bodies. Guess what it looks like sometimes? It looks like a little bit of extra weight on your hips. It's not extra weight at all, but we think it is if we start looking at social media, right? And so all of this stuff is coming back to the truth, the right people around you to guide you. And like you said, it's your stress level and how you feel in your body will determine not only what you choose to do, but the most important thing, the result will depend, right, on who you are in that activity, and your capacity to actually maintain it will determine your life. So you can, let's say you lose 20 pounds doing CrossFit 5 days a week and smashing it and being like a badass, and that feels good, right? Are you able to maintain that for the rest of your life? Now, you might say, sure. How does that feel though? You are a slave to that 5 days a week. That frames everything. I've traveled, I'm sure you have too, where it's like, where's the gym? How do I make sure I'm there? Like this, and I'm sure that literally, right? And it's like, if I don't have this, so again, it's coming from ego, and knowing that, just knowing that it's not true is the first step. I was like, that's not true. That's not true. Let me come to the truth and then have somebody help me. And Ollie, I just have to say that again, fitness, like you said, it taught me so much. Consistency, discipline, right? Like knowing that, yeah, sometimes it doesn't feel good, but it's not that it doesn't feel good. It's that it's challenging you, right, to grow, which is why I always use the term spiritual gym. I believe in the gym as a principle, showing up every day, practicing, or 3 times a week. But, spiritual work is every day. And doing the reps, putting in the reps so you can develop those spiritual muscles, and so that you can actually see how much stronger you're becoming without being attached to the result, because the result doesn't matter. The purpose is the process, right? The purpose is the process of who you're becoming, right? What are you expressing? Who are you embodying in the process of doing what you're doing? Lifting weights, sitting in meditation, eating. Who are you being? Who you be? Right. And it's not about becoming something you're not. It's about becoming more of what you are. And that absolutely can be supportive through an exercise program, right? You might be like, I just love it. And I do. Like, I love lifting heavy things. It makes me really happy. And at the same time, again, doing it from a place of play, like I'm just going to lift some boulders. I'm strong enough. I know my capacity. I'm doing it with the right form, right? It's an art, right? It's an art. It's a dance. And also knowing that you don't need to do any of it if it doesn't feel true to you, right?
I think when people get caught up, like you see on social media, you walk into a gym, like this morning I'm going into the gym, there was I think it was like 100-meter row challenge. Yeah. There was a fastest mile challenge. There was a deadlift challenge, like on a leaderboard. Like, it's about being the strongest. It's about being the fastest. It's about being able to have the most endurance. Like, it's about being the best. But what about the best at being in alignment?
Yes.
Being recharged.
Yes. And do you actually want to do that after? That's the thing. You might say, yeah, it's fun. If it's fun, go for it. But if it's not, why are you doing it? Right? Like, why? And if it's because you want to perform so that you can feel. And again, having those questions show up is the most important part of this process. That's why we do these. Right?
I used to do it for ego, right? I was having a conversation with someone yesterday in the gym, and I was doing some deadlifts, and I was like, I remember when 270K was like a 3-rep max. And I'm like, this feels hard now. And it used to be like my warm up for warm ups. And like, but I don't feel the need to do that stuff.
No.
Ego.
No, that's it. Like, yes, I know. And I don't mind. Like I went to the gym last week, and we're so funny. We're like, this fitness process, guys, forget the gym. No. The gym's great.
Gym's good.
And also it's something that we created so that we can support our lifestyles and be healthy, right? So absolutely go train, get the guidance and the feedback you need, right? Get your body to a place of strength, right? And absolutely weights and a structured, right? Really well-balanced training program. And again, diet is everything. Without that, none of that matters. Yeah. So both, and then of course, sleep and self-care and spiritual health, like everything, right? It's, again, you can't just do this one thing. However, all this to say that not throwing shade at the gym, but just saying that, like you just said, Ollie, when you show up and you're like, I'm gonna, the goal of me being here is so that I lift more than last week, right? How is it? Just ask yourself, how is it that that's important to you? And what happens when you do?
Yeah.
Just ask. It doesn't mean bad or good. It's just in that moment, just like, wow, I used to go to the gym and just literally be like, I don't want to be here. got to do this. And I would listen to like spiritual guidance from one of my coaches and teachers as I was doing it to get through it, because it would help me like tap into that alignment of what I really wanted to do, which is actually walk and contemplate what I was doing in my life and how I was showing up, and not distract myself, right, with looking good at the gym and feeling like I accomplished something that day, right? Because everything else felt like I wasn't. And this is such an easy way to do it, right? It's like, I'm going to lift higher, more, and I'll feel like more accomplished. And if I don't feel that in my job, if I don't feel like in my relationship, I'm seen, I'm important, I'm powerful. If I don't feel, right, like I actually matter in my life, this is where it comes to. And I make an impact and I matter, I'm going to find every part in this world where I can show up and make myself matter for at least 5 minutes, because that is what I want as a human being. That doesn't last. And then I need more, right? And then I need more. And that's why we get addicted. That's what the nature of addiction is. It's you want to feel that sense of belonging that you get from a cocaine hit, that you get from lifting 300 pounds and being like, I did it, right? Or, winning a race, or manifesting $1,000 in 1 minute, right? And then it's like, it's gone. And then you want more, right? And it's like, oh, I want that feeling of like I matter. I am powerful. I can, right? That's what we want. Essentially, it comes down to one thing. I am worthy of love. I am worthy of love. I am worthy of love. Right now, in this moment, I feel I'm worthy of love. But as soon as it's gone, I am not anymore, because the thing is gone. So now more, right? Better, more strong, push harder, right? So yeah, that's the key to everything. That's the key to everything. And yet we don't start there. It's like we have to crash and burn, right? And then be like, nothing is left. All the bullshit's gone. And it's like the only thing remaining is the truth. Well, that's why we do what we do, because we've done that. And also we know, right? We know that that's actually what people are looking for when they come to you, when they come to me. They're looking for a way to figure out who they really are, what they actually want, and how to do it, right? And why is it that it matters to them? They want to know the purpose of their lives and what drives them, their passion, their true passion, who they are in this life, and that it matters. And that once they're gone, their life would have made a difference. That's what they want. And then that's what other, like, that's of course, we will suffer to figure that out. It's just that we're using all the wrong tools to figure it out. It's like, I want to figure out if my life matters if I lift a certain weight and make a certain amount of money and get a certain position. And the whole time I'm stressed out, I'm a dick. And I feel like I am not even somebody I want to be around, right? Because I'm just like, and I don't know what to do. I don't know what else to do, right? And so I'm going to keep doing it, because at least I have this illusion for 5 minutes that I've made it to the place of I matter, I'm worthy. My life makes a difference for just 5 minutes. Yeah. So
it's powerful. Powerful. I'm aware of the time. I know we said about doing.
I want you to coach me now, please. Okay, now we have to go to the, because I can talk all day, but
we've got about like 10, 15 minutes. So okay. Did you actually do did you do the questionnaire?
Okay, so I didn't submit them because I didn't know if I was supposed to submit them. But I looked at them and then I was just like, oh, Sasha, there's work to be done.
Okay, so what were the things that did jump out?
Yes. Okay, so Ollie has this amazing questionnaire. If you guys haven't done it, please do it. What jumped out for me was that, like, the most physical stuff, right? The most natural stuff that you would ignore. And we women, we can do this really well. So nails, which is why I brought nails.
Yeah.
Skin. Now, my skin has always been great. And I know, like we've talked about this, I've cut off coffee. This is not coffee. This is tea with butter. But because, right, coffee, so stress, right? And so my skin, like, just kind of like breaking out, flaky, like can't get rid of certain things. And I'm just like, how is this? Because I'm in a city, the city's bringing up that stuff a lot more than when I was in nature, basically, right? So sometimes you literally you're like, oh, wow, this has always been here. It's just that now it's manifesting quicker, right? So that's what's happening. So my sleep's good. So the skin, nails, my hair, Ollie, not great. Like, I have a lot of hair and it's always been like, I shed, so to speak, because it's a lot of hair. But I feel like there is something maybe I'm not eating that could be contributing to that. And I've done collagen, I've done supplements for that. Like, it doesn't seem to make a difference. So again, it might just be me and my imagination, because what I'm doing here, by the way, isn't very optimal. I have this bun and it breaks hair. So I know that that's part of it. But so skin, hair, nails. And then one more thing that jumped out at me is There was something you asked about. Oh my God. Okay. You actually, let me ask you this. When healthy, fit women come to you, right? What is usually the one thing that they're not aware of that they're doing that's manifesting a certain symptom that they share with you?
I would say that cold hands and feet is a big one.
Oh, yes. Okay, there you go. Yeah. Yes.
And as you said, hair, skin, nails.
Yes.
And the thing we look at to improve hair, skin, and nails is external.
Yeah.
We look to put creams on our skin.
Right. Yeah.
Like, skin is an organ.
Yes.
It's actually the biggest organ in the body. It's on the body. And same with nails, like growth happens from the inside. Same with hair follicles, like the quality of our hair follicles matters. Now, a lot of times we look at how healthy is your gut microbiome. But the thing you mentioned there is like coming back into the city.
Yeah.
Detoxification side of things. Now, a lot of women have problems with stage 2 detoxification. So there's 3 stages, 0, 1, 2. I don't know why they started at 0, but 0, which is actually mobilizing or converting from fat toxins into water soluble. So we can then stage 1, mobilize them, and stage 2, get rid of them. And diesel fumes, when we go into the city, really impair our detoxification systems. So we see it a lot with people that are in big cities, especially when they've gone from out in the countryside. Where I am is a very big farming. It's a city, but then outside is the biggest farm, one of the farming counties in the UK, a place called Norfolk. So there's a lot of poor air quality. And then we don't even look at the air quality in our homes. So mold exposure. We look at toxins. We look at plastics, BPAs, and these things called xenoestrogens, which are really going to be damaging to the body. So what we're eating and the plastics that are held, like with even having salads, like if they're in plastic and everything, going to coffee places and like you've got your reusable cup there, but like having the plastic at the top, like not with that one because it's probably a BPA free one, but like go to Starbucks and then we drink from the plastic from the top, and then people have issues. But when we look at hair falling out, we look at nails, we look at cold hands and feet, we're looking at the gut to see, is there a problem with the gut lining? Has there been a history of something called SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth? Or is there a compromised gut lining? So are they also getting things like reflux sometimes? Are they going to the toilet? Like especially women, like I've spoken to many women that think it's normal to go to the toilet every 2-3 days. Now we should be going to the toilet every 14 to 16 hours to get rid of toxins. If not, it gets reabsorbed into the system. So how do we improve that? It's getting a variety of vegetables in there. But I know, like, are you still doing carnivore?
I am doing carnivore.
Yeah. So it's how can you get those nutrients in while you're following the carnivore diet?
Right.
And this is like, we were having this discussion, like we had one of the guy that is a client of mine and was arranging the event was like in between us as we were going down this like really so narrow, and we were talking about carnivore and he was like, so why is it this? I'm like, it's the one that's working at the moment. Like if we've got problems with hair quality, with skin quality, it's how can we improve our gut health, still follow the diets that we want to energetically follow.
Yes. Yeah.
And sometimes these diets don't serve us. And I've had to tell a client the other day that we'd done some testing and he's a vegan and he was reacting to so many like lentils, legumes, like beans, like loads of different things and different grains. I said, and it was actually to the point where if we have reactions to more than about 25 different foods, it's called a loss of immune tolerance.
It's like
the system, everything was reacting. So I said, look, it's when you have to ask yourself, yes, ethically, we may think this is the diet for us. But can we be healthier and serve the world better if we adjust our diet? And you can still be kind of ethical, like whilst eating meat, as we say. Like if you love the meat and like you're thankful for it, you show gratitude for it, you have ethical farming methods. Like, all these things help. Exactly, right?
Yeah, it's a ritual.
And then the other thing is cold hands and feet is an oxygen delivery side of things. So I would expect with people that have cold hands and feet, they may have a history of using more caffeine and using that as a stimulant. And that if we can't get, and I said this in my talk, is that if we can't get oxygen to our hands and feet, they're at the extremes of our body. And it's also going to impact nail health as well, because blood flow there, nutrient delivery. We're also not going to get oxygen to our brain as effectively. So chances are there's going to be brain fog at certain times, like more fatigue at certain times. Like it might be that you go through, if you've done a hard training session, you take longer to recover or longer to get over if you go through different time zones, and you may have more things like seasonal affectional disorder. You're not getting the oxygen delivery to clear out toxins in the brain. So I would look at diversification of your diet and see like, what is the minimum I can do to still follow guidelines of carnivore? And it might be that I do with clients, we get this veggie sludge, like ice cubes. So we have like 20, 30 different vegetables. We blend them up raw and then put them into ice cubes. Then blend them when you have a drink and have 1 or 2 of them a day to help the diversity of the gut microbiome. And then the rest of the diet you follow being the carnivore side. But also I think back as well, like you've followed so many different diets. Which one felt the most optimal for you at that point? How did your skin feel? How did your hair feel? And then you take things from each time that you felt was good about those diets. I don't follow a specific diet, but I'm lower on carbs. Because I feel better when I'm on lower carbs. And I know that like if I have times like it was my wife's 40th. And I was saying like, oh, am I in alignment? If I eat like some birthday cake and we go out for afternoon tea, is that hell yeah, I'm in alignment, because I would say to my clients to enjoy celebrations, right?
Of course.
But then the next day I felt a bit sluggish. And it's obvious because of the processed food. So unless it's a celebration, I don't have processed food.
Because
I don't have caffeine. There's no pre-workouts. Like it's gone. Like I'm glad that I was having caffeine in Colombia, because I got to enjoy some really nice coffee. And like getting decaf stuff still has a little bit of caffeine. So having teas and things like that, Tulsi tea, adaptogenic herbs, like they're things that are so powerful. Absolutely. Staying hydrated, like these are really powerful things. And another one there, hydration, is looking at adding some rock salts. So Himalayan rock salts to your water, or hydration drops. That stuff will help a hell of a lot. But I think the big thing to look at with that detoxification, how do we help that? Well, we can look down a thing called methylation. Look at liver function, and methylation is responsible for like over 200 different processes in the body, in and around the liver. And it's responsible for converting different vitamins and nutrients into active form. So like B12, we have to methylate B12 to get methylcobalamin. And a lot of people can't do that if they're not getting detoxification systems. So with someone like that, yes, someone might say, oh, go get some probiotics. They're going to help your skin and things, but not if they might help it in that moment, but we're not fixing that underlying stress of constantly delivering these good nutrients to our body, amino acids that the body can't produce, essential ones. So we have to get them from our diet. So the variety of that, the variation of foods, they're all going to be very, very powerful. And again, like doing what you've done with training, like you've been hitting training hard for a while. So I would expect to naturally see your body catch up now. Now you're doing it much more intuitively. And it takes time to do that. Like we have clients that haven't slept for years, like waking up through the night. And then you come out after a week, I'm still waking up through the night. Yeah, but you haven't slept for 25 years. So we're going to do this over a few weeks. And this is the process. You're going to go from waking 4 times to 2 to 1, to then occasionally you'll sleep through the night. And then you'll wonder, like, hang on, I've had a week without waking up through the night. And then when you do wake up through the night, you know why. I still wake up through the night when I travel. In a different environment, different time zone, different, like even like in a different, like in the same country, but in a different like hotel or something. It's having that environment, like the same sounds, all these sorts of things.
The energy.
Different energy as well. You don't know who slept in that bed before. It's clean. Hopefully it's clean, but like you don't know what the energy that they brought into that room and all these sorts of things. Could be worth traveling with some sage or something, and actually going like. I
actually brought my Palo Santo with me to Colombia.
Oh wow, that's crazy! Like, well, it's not crazy; it's good. But yeah, they're the things that I would look at as diversity of diet.
I'm hearing what you're saying, and intuitively, I know. Like again, we always know. Like as soon as you say what felt good. Well, like I have a history of eating a lot of vegetables, for example. This is for your listeners. So like, again, there are ways of doing it that actually doesn't help you, right? So I ate so much And all of it was raw most of the time. And I would like blend them in smooth. And it wasn't done intuitively. And it wasn't done from a place of alignment and nourishment. It was like, this is good for me. Right? Yeah. I need to do this. And I wasn't actually connecting with the food, really.
It's also part of your identity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's part of my identity. Let's go. Let's get there. Let's do this. I don't have time to like sit there and prepare the vegetables. And, sometimes I did. That's the thing. It's not like it was always that way, but the parts of my life that were like that, right, were consistent. It's like, oh, let's go smash life, right? Let's go smash it. And, right, I know that also there was a part of my life that was very much enjoying. I always loved food and I love the ritual, right, of really connecting to food. So that was always there. So I just, as soon as you said that, I was like, yes, vegetables, diversity, let's reintegrate, right? Let's reintroduce what.
Do it slowly, like not
but
20
how,
at a time.
Right,
yeah.
But also how. It's like slowly is good. And also which ones? Like, for example, I don't want to eat raw broccoli, and I personally don't feel good on it. And I don't think it's not, something I necessarily need. However, right, I'm not against it. If sometime, maybe one day I will. However, I'm like immediately I know, and this is talking to your people about alignment again. Like my intuition is so like, I know what I need: sweet potato, squash, right? Like fibrous and cooked and warm, right? Grounding that inner lower root sacral chakra. And not necessarily blending things. So I'm all for what you said. But again, for that identity of let's just get it. No, I want to sit there and connect with the vegetables.
Cherish it. Yeah.
It's important for me to be part of that, like with the meat, right? It's like, oh, and here is, here's a sweet potato, right? And here's it. So I will, and I'll bring you on my podcast and we'll talk more about this because I'm going to get some coaching out of you.
This is part one, and then we'll go to part two.
Part one, and we'll go into part two, but I just want to again share how you shared everything you said, right? It's like, I know all the stuff, but hearing you say it reflected back to me using the language that you did, intuitively knowing how I needed to receive it, felt true, felt in integrity. And also it felt so loving. So like right now, instead of being like my friend or my trainer told me to do this, I'm like, oh, I was invited to explore how I can support what I know is working with things that I'm not doing that clearly my body's like, you need to do this to support a holistic picture of your health, which is different from when, your ancestors were living in caves. You're not living in a cave, my love. So, and pay attention. Right?
Exactly. So cool. Well, how can our listeners get hold of you?
Oh, just simple, my name, and you pronounce it perfectly. And I wanted to tell you, thank you so much for like, so SashaLipskaia.com is my website, and you can find me on social media. So I'm quite active on Facebook, my personal Facebook, then Instagram at Sasha Lipskaia, Sasha Lipskaia Coaching on Facebook. And you can also find my YouTube channel, Sasha Lipskaia, and also my podcast, which Ollie is going to be a guest on next week. It's called Being Brave with Sasha Lipskaia. So yeah, I look forward to connecting. And
thank you for joining.
Yeah.
Absolutely epic. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. You're an incredible leader, Ollie. I was thinking about you yesterday. I was like, you're going to be I'll share it with you first. But I have a feeling that I want to use you as an example of leadership in one of my talks.
I appreciate that. Thank you.